Добрий день.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to see everybody joining us in Ukraine Media Center current form. My name is Olha Atamanova. It's been 10 years of the war, and today is day 603 of the full-scale invasion of our homeland by Russian aggressor. And today we have invited you for a presentation of a new volunteer initiative that is rooted in a cultural art project. So today we will be talking about the Ukrainian team of Burning Men that starts a fundraiser to collect $1 million United States dollars for evacuation vehicles, medical evacuation vehicles. Burning Man is an art festival that is happening in the state of Nevada. It gathers a very powerful team of people. Sometimes the number of people reaches up to 70,000 people. 35 countries of the world join this event with presentations of their art projects there. So today Ukrainian Burning Man team will make a presentation about the transformation of it from a cultural event to a fundraiser for our military. So I would like to introduce our guests today. It's Yaroslav Korets, head of the Ukrainian Burners NGO, leader of Kurenivka camp at Burning Man. Yaroslav will be joining us online. Also joining us are Oleksandr Slobodianyk, co-creator of the Hedgehog Temple project, volunteer helping the military. Arsen Mirzoyan, Singer-Songwriter, volunteer and project ambassador. Also joining us in Zoom are Vadim Geshel and Svetlana Kosteloma. They are co-founders of Leleka Foundation. And also joining us is Andrei Maximchuk, call sign Batman, airborne assault trooper scout. We want to thank all of you, Mr. Yaroslav. We would like to give the floor to you. We know that on the 27th of August, from 27th of August until September 4, the festival was taking place. So how did you come up with the idea to transform this project into a volunteer fundraiser? Mr. Yaroslav, we're not hearing you, unfortunately. It's probably because I've forgotten to switch on my microphone. Good morning for inviting me. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for your question. Probably I will ask from the end. We did not decide to transform the project. We conceived it just like this because every year Burning Man is being attended by hundreds of art projects, and they all make a fundraiser before their arrival at Burning Man to demonstrate their projects there. We decided to do it in a little bit another way, so we decided to raise funds after the Burning Man to initiate the project, another project to save lives. For us as Ukrainians, other goals are not probably even interesting for the time being. So it's about the fundraiser idea. I would like us to see a short video about how it was happening, and then we will continue our conversation. I would like to ask our technical team to put the video on the screen.
Трохи додати контексту, покажу.
Just to add a little bit of context, I will show you how we were loading the hedgehogs. This is us loading the hedgehogs with the sound of the air raid alert in the background.
Якщо є такі рани, що їх зцілює час, і жахлива ураза, біль від якої не згасне ніколи знову. Дібили маки на свою обнову, а як людей вбивають, їм не гріє і не знобить мову. Так, ми нарешті полюбили мову, ціною болю втрати пересиджувань у сховах. знайомим. Ми скоро будем вдома, ми скоро будем вдома.
Перший схід сонця зустріли. Клас. Значить все буде добре.
Бачу бути русських, де какая там війна. Відповідати нема сенсу, бо як каже Чокі, раби будуть рабами, хай живуть на території. Але факт є фактом, лелеку збили зі шляху, влучили просто в крило. І не оговтавшись від жаху, він впустив їх на землю. З ними і мати не встояли рівно під жаски звук канонади. Мені казали, що Янки стали бути охоронцями, що колись він загляне і у наше віконце, як і сонце, що було моїм світилом, але зараз я співаю ненародженим могилам. Я не пробачу в житті ніколи ваш довічний сон.
Mr. Oleksandr, it all looks real fantastic. So why specifically the Temple of the Hedgehog? How have you come up with the idea of this specific art project? So how have you been doing it? Well, you know, this video brought me back to those days, to those events. Well, yeah, art object idea came from Yaroslav Korets. He came up with this idea for Burning Man. They approved it. He got in touch with me and he says, Oleksandr, if you agree, then I'm in too. So we started brainstorming, we started changing concept, playing with designs. We invited a wonderful team headed by Grisha Zotov with his guys. It was about 3 months that we were playing with appearance. It was changing, and then in May, in coordination with our colleagues, we started manufacturing it. Within very short term, we were able to manufacture this hedgehog, and within the first days of June, we already shipped it there. It's 2 months. It takes 2 months to get there by train, by sea, one truck, another truck. But we made it, thanks God. Yeah, thanks God we made it. Burning Man supported us too. We got a grant extended by Burning Man, partly covering the cost of our installation. Well, so it was partly covered by Burning Man and in part by our own funds, so we were not using any budget funds. So there were camouflage nets, there were hedgehogs, so what else was there? Yeah, those were the materials that all the Ukrainians were working with within the first month of war and keep working until now. So, as we say, anti-tank hedgehog, as we told to our American friends, is the symbol of us being protected, and at the same time is the symbol of war still continuing. So if you walk out in the street and you see the hedgehog out there, it means the war is still there. And Americans, they don't know what the hedgehog is. They don't have such an animal, and we were explaining it through Hedgehog, through Sonic the Hedgehog, and they were like, ah, all right, Sonic, then now it makes sense. So we've built it from the materials that are close to us and unfortunately symbolize the war. Oleksandr, Yaroslav, probably it would be relevant to ask some of you these questions. So how did your partners who attended this event react to this art object? How it was happening? What was the feedback? I was seeing photos there. So what was in those photos? Well, you know, when we conceived this project, it was 1 year ago. In October, I was submitting my application for Burning Man. So I wanted to bring something that would make people break into tears because they would understand our pain. And it happened just so. People were coming, and a lot of people, dozens, hundreds, thousands, during all of the Burning Man, thousands of people attended the Hedgehog Temple. They communicated with our volunteers who were by our side, and the most of the people were crying there. Yeah, I want to add just a couple of words. We had 24/7, we had volunteers there, we had shifts near our memorial, and we prepared a speech for all the attendees. So the speech was different, but we were trying to communicate a couple of messages that it's not a military, it's not an armed conflict, it's a national war where all of the Ukrainians are taking part, like somebody in the front line, somebody in the rear with their thoughts, supporting, donating. And another message was that we do not want to freeze this war and to preserve it for our kids. And saying that, I was starting to break into tears, and everybody listening to me was breaking into tears too. I'm quite a cold-blooded person, but within those 2 days I ran out of tears because people were kneeling in front of me, crying. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of hugs that we experienced there. I did not expect the conscious world to express such words of support, such a feedback. I was impressed, to say the least. I was impressed 1,000 times. It's a motivation that will continue pushing me until the end of our project, because it's incredible. The conscious world supports us. And now that I'm saying this, I'm having a goosebumps running over my skin. So we definitely were able to reach out to the hearts of those people. And those things, they are not just frill. Those are the presents that were gifted to me by our friends. It's not all of them. I just put on a couple of them just to demonstrate how people perceive it. So was that emotion that pushed you to start the fundraiser? Just like Yaroslav said, that everything Ukrainians do all around the world has to save lives and push us to victory, to support our victory. So basically we were not even considering any other options. Both me and Yaroslav would not have gone to Burning Man without this goal, so it was quite clear to us. Arsen, I would like to ask you, I know that you are part of many volunteer projects, so how did you meet these guys? Why did you decide to support them, and how important is to involve and engage all of Ukrainian artists in such projects? Well, we met just like that because time has come to stand united. First, it started with volunteer organizations and foundations that were doing it by themselves, and then we've come to realization that financial support is waning. What the foundations try to raise, what the artists accumulate during their shows, yeah, it helps, but there are specific needs of the fund, of the front, and there are units within our group that are taking care of very specific matters, and all those matters, they may arise in one single unit. So we got united to cover the needs of one specific unit, one specific area. Well, we all see that we are permanently in touch with the military. We've become friends since 2014. We met Oleksandr after the beginning of the full-scale invasion. I got more familiar with their project Short Ukraine because I'm an artist. I love to transform my shows into auctions. I like good lots, and Alexander's Team Short Ukraine manufactures very good lots. They make nice shots. They call it the shots of victory, 30 millimeters. Arsen, do you share the idea that now any art activity should be aimed at support of our military? It should be in all cases, because artist is a person, like, you know, whose tool is a mouth, you know. They speak with the mouth. Some other artists do it in a different way. I'm talking about myself. But just some talks, interview, it all disappears in the information flow. You say something, it's forgotten within 3 days. So anything you say, it should become an art object. It should become a song, you know, a creation, something that is not forgotten within 3 days, something that will stay, because a song is like a dialogue, is a weight dialogue with the listener. So for me, it's easier to communicate my thought like this, and it works just like that, just like Hedgehog, like that art project. And all the visitors of the Hedgehog Temple, they were not even imagining what's going on our part in Ukraine. People, like, they live in a bubble. I was meeting those millionaires for a number of times, but you cannot communicate that information to them, because they try to save themselves, protect themselves, protect their families. They just don't want to talk about that. And you think, like, people, how do you even live if people find truth during disputes? So how does it happen to you? You just shut yourself down from everyone else, so you cannot reach out to those people through just regular conversation. You have to reach out to them through some art objects like songs, exhibitions, because just regular conversations, now you know, they are not perceived very well. And the degree of polemic in our society is such that you can accidentally pick a wrong vector of your self-expression, and art, it's more of a clear nature, you know, to reach out to understanding of a person. You may leave something unsaid, but you have to pick the right vector, like in school, you know. They give you the task, you start solving them. Maybe you cannot finish it, but the teacher already understands that you're on the right path. Well, yeah, that's the right thought. Vadim, Svetlana, your foundation supports our medics from 2014. You have a very clear understanding of the needs. So what are the needs, and why the medevac trucks is the most important thing now? Vadim, we're hearing you. Well, we seem to hear you. Yes, you are right. We work starting from 2014. We work directly with the military medics. There is a great need for everything: medic kits, tourniquets, medical backpacks, etc. But now we focus on the medevac trucks, the trucks that are capable of evacuating the wounded people in difficult conditions, where there are no roads, where it's difficult to go with any other vehicle. So we plan to procure vehicles that are capable of driving cross country, and the need for such vehicles is real serious. They are being constantly lost, damaged, and we need more and more of them, unfortunately. So now this is the focus of our project. Well, I would like to add a little bit that with the beginning of the war, it was clear that tactical medicine as tourniquets, medikits, they are not always enough to save lives, and those heavily wounded, they have bigger chances of survival if they get to a hospital within 1 hour, is the golden hour. And as Vadim mentioned, the regular ambulance vehicles are not always capable to ensure evacuation from remote areas due to condition of the roads and actual battle conditions. So our team has taken the decision to focus on the evacuation medevac trucks. We started to procure ambulance vehicles and off-road trucks in Europe. We have maintenance stations and other volunteers that support us at very low cost. So we started painting those cars and re-outfit them for everybody upon their request for any needs like oxygen bottles, lungs ventilation machines sometimes, and we also almost always install the stretchers. Andrei, on behalf of all of our team, we would like to thank you for defending us, for your service, for your choice. Andrei, I would like to ask you, is it really so, as Svetlana and Vadim say, and you know, some might say today that it becomes more and more difficult to raise funds for volunteers, and others might say that the state got more involved in this process. So what's your evaluation of the volunteer support for our troops? Well, first of all, I would like to say that the people who are sitting by my side now, who got together, they always help no matter what. So it's really becoming increasingly difficult to raise funds. I feel it because I sometimes try to get involved in some volunteer activities. I'm saying some because the people cover, the volunteers, they cover way more broader range of needs. I've read a phrase once: if you know how to fight, fight. If you don't know how to fight, help. If you don't want to help, you're not with us. You understand? Every hryvnia saves the life of a warrior. And before people want to drink a cup of coffee, they have to think about every single warrior who has become an angel. It's difficult to say so, but they support us from the skies, and it's also about the warriors who are still there fighting. And now we're here at these evacuation trucks. I'll tell you about the situation. We were there for 2.5 months for the time being. Since the beginning of the war, I can tell you about a lot of different situations, different operations, missions. But let's take the shortest period, 2.5 months, the latest operation in Zaporizhia area. We've broken through and we got stretched to the enemy's trenches with the evacuation shoulder of 6,800 meters. Imagine the number of points for evacuation missions in case a warrior gets wounded. So first you pull them on the stretcher. They're wounded. They want or they don't want, that they do help themselves On the way they install the tourniquet, they try to write something on the tourniquet so there is no tourniquet syndrome, because people get their limbs amputated because of the tourniquet syndrome. So they write it on themselves, on their tourniquets, as they are being pulled on a stretcher, and you're thinking about not being shot in your back, and then you put them on the motorcycle and you drive them shaking, and then you achieve the evacuation point where a medevac truck is supposed to be, which, as you've correctly mentioned, may be destroyed by howitzer fire, artillery fire, mortars, or sometimes they are not being led to the evacuation points with a crossfire or using any weapons. And those vehicles, those cars, to call them consumable, you know, it would be probably offensive. It would be offensive for your mission, offensive for your work that you've planned to do so. But it is really so, because they are just being spent as consumables. They may be capable of evacuating one warrior, but they may stay there for a year or two. But if it saves a life of a single warrior, I am ready to bow in front of you for your idea. And everybody in the front lines in the same way, because a soldier fights, a soldier shoots. Calling everybody a soldier, officers, sergeants, a soldier of war. I don't tie myself to a rank, but to make sure the soldier shoots good, they need to be fed, they need to be clad, and God forbid anything happens, they need to be evacuated and saved, so they get back in action. So you've undertaken an incredibly cool project, incredibly cool idea. I really appreciate it, and I'll be waiting for my truck. Well, you know, everybody has their own scales, but we all understand that I'm talking on behalf of my battalion and on behalf of every unit where this vehicle gets to, on behalf of every single warrior of every single brigade, because after 1 hour that I get back to the front line, I may end up in that very same truck. Any soldier may end up there, and on behalf of every soldier, I'm telling you that it's a great mission, and God protect you, God saved you. I wish you make it. You cover the needs of all the brigades, and you continue coming up with these cool ideas, cool projects within the shortest periods possible. Thank you. Yaroslav, Oleksandr, probably it's relevant to ask you, so if anybody wants to get involved in the fundraiser, how to do it, how to get involved, Yaroslav, please tell us. Well, you have to follow the link. There was a link in the video. It will be provided in all of our materials. We have a wonderful website, Kurenivka UA, where there is a link to Give Butter. It's an international platform for fundraisers. Yeah, we put this link on the screen. Yeah, it's the link to Leleka Foundation. It's registered in the United States of America. Yeah, what I also want to add is that with this press conference we start a huge international fundraiser in United States, in Europe, other countries. So if anybody wants to partner with us, make a collaboration, create some new idea on the platform of our fundraiser, everybody is welcome. It's a very bright goal, and we hope to find bright people on the way to its achievement. Oleksandr, do we understand it correct that there are already international partners who want to get involved? Well, first of all, is the Burning Man community, is the camp, everything in the orbit of Burning Man. We communicate with us. Yaroslav is responsible for this American Communication Fund, and also the guys who are currently in America. There's a lot of work to do. We have potential partners. We will continue telling you about them on the way as the project proceeds. But we have a lot of ideas, and I hope we will make it. But as Andrei properly mentioned, if we save even one life, I think that it's a great luck. So what is the term that you set for yourself? It was set the soonest possible. So what are the plans? Well, it would be cool to finalize it, as you know, to make it as a present under the Christmas tree. Well, I hope it will happen by the time of the Christmas tree installation, so that everybody gets the medevac trucks they need, so that they save the lives of our warriors and the lives of our civilians who ended up in the front lines. Do we have any questions on the floor, please? Microphone. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, Ukrainian Office of Promotions. Andrei, good morning. I would like to ask you, I've seen the information that recently you've issued your book, funds from which were forwarded to the charity needs. Is it safe to say that the proceeds from this book are forwarded for acquisition of these medevac trucks? You probably seen it here before asking your question that I've just scanned the QR code. Yes, I will allocate money for that. Yes, I have written a book. It was just recently issued 2 months ago, and it was like first print was bought out. The first 1,000 was bought out within a week and a half, thanks to the friends, the family, everybody who helps to advertise it, who picked up this idea. Now we have another print from which only a couple of books are left, so we will continue selling them, and with God's help, if I make it through this war, I will continue promoting this idea, because it's like the idea with the hedgehog, idea with the sons, idea with different creative feedbacks, or what should I call them? You know, those ideas, they are perceived by the people better. So the book is symbolic, the price is 260 hryvnias, but as I've mentioned, every hryvnia saves a life of a warrior. If every single Ukrainian who watches the news, you know, if everybody who reads the news all around the world, if they donate one single hryvnia, we would be able to buy armor, we would be able to buy fighter jets. And yes, I want to donate for those medevac trucks from the proceeds from my book. Andrei, tell us a little bit more about the book to our listeners so they know what to buy. What is the name of the book? Okay, so it will be sounded as a commercial. Well, it's a commercial for a good deeds. Yeah, not to make it very lengthy, you can find it on Google. Just write in Latin Max von Forsyth or Travel Around Ukraine or the Magical Dragon. So Journey Around Ukraine and Magic Dragon. Or you can proceed to my Instagram profile, and there you will see a logical algorithm how to buy a book. You can send me a personal message or switch to WhatsApp Telegram through my telephone number. You can provide a new post address and transfer money but to do the bank details, donate to the army, and to get this wonderful book. Wonderful in my opinion. Thank you very much for what you're doing, and obviously I want to thank our security and defense forces, thanks to whom we can hold events like this. Thank you very much, and we will continue working together for our victory. Glory to Ukraine.